Hey everyone, Cat Goblin or Martin here, and yep, it's another enemy review, this time on Mario Galaxy 2. The last Mario game I did was Super Mario Sunshine, which was a couple of months ago, and a lot of you guys seem to really enjoy the Mario Galaxy 1 enemy review, so I figured it's about time I talk about the enemies in the second Mario Galaxy game. Not gonna lie, I had this game on my shelf for years, and didn't get around to playing it until last summer. And that's because when I first got this game, I was already a teenager and was more interested in playing all the Assassin's Creed games, as well as Batman Arkham City and Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor and War, which are all great games I'd like to talk about in the future. Now back to Mario Galaxy 2. It's a really great game, just like the first one, even adding new power-ups, Yoshi, and some new enemies which are really cool. Going for 100% just to unlock the final level takes quite a long time though. A couple of the enemies from the first game do appear here. Now I could skip them all since I talked about them in an old video, but some of them are a little bit different than before, and it gives me an excuse to talk about them again. I'll even be talking about a few hazard enemies I skipped out on in my Galaxy 1 video, so without further delay, let's get into it. Starting with some key facts about all these enemies is that a majority of them can be defeated by stomping on them or spin punching them. Obviously if you get hit by an enemy, you lose some health. However, for enemies that can crush you like these guys on screen, then you'll instantly die. A couple of the enemies can be affected by shooting starbits at them. Some can get dizzy or delayed while others can block them. Enemies that can be defeated can drop coins when stomped, and starbits if spin punched or punted while dizzy. There's even some that can drop keys or one-up mushrooms. Yoshi can eat a few of the enemies you'll come across with him. Enemies that respawn will stop dropping coins and starbits after a while. And lastly, if there's an opportunity, some enemies will instantly perish if they're crushed by a thwomp, fall into the abyss, and touch lava and water. There are some enemies in the game that do appear to be immune to the latter hazards, but time to move on. In no particular order, let's start with the Goomba, the most common enemy in the whole game, and they appear in all these galaxies that you can see on screen. These guys will pretty much be roaming around minding their own business until they spot you. They will of course chase you, and spin punching them once flips them over, making them dizzy, which is perfect to punt them like a football. They're not super tough though, and don't even stand a chance against Mario and Yoshi. These guys can be found in snow statues of themselves, rocks, chests, and crystals, which is why Beat Block Galaxy counts as a Goomba location thanks to this one crystal. On top of that, the Goomba has more additional appearances in these galaxies from the Chance Cube. Throughout the game, you'll stumble upon a Chance Cube which can give you a one-up mushroom, starbits, or coins, but these ones in particular have a Bowser face, and if the cube lands with it, it will spawn in a Goomba. There's also the Para Goomba and Jacko Goomba that technically add more appearances, which we'll get into later. Not as common as the Goomba is the Goom Beetle or Micro Goomba, appearing in Sky Station, Cloudy Court, Battle Belt, and Rolling Coaster Galaxy. They are Goombas but stubby with a shady color, and unlike regular Goombas, they will instantly die once you spin punch them once. In Mario Galaxy 1, the Goom Beetle will always drop coins whether you spin punch or stomp on it, and the only way to get 3 starbits was to shoot them with a starbit followed by a kick. Well, here in Galaxy 2, you can get a single starbit out of them. They also appear in Yoshi Star Galaxy and Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, where the Magic Koopas can spawn them in. Some more common enemies you'll find throughout the game are the Octoombas, appearing in these galaxies, and the Elite Octoombas, which can be found in these following galaxies. In Galaxy 1, the Octoombas pretty much move around an area or on a spot and will headbutt you when you get too close. This time around, they will shoot you with rocks, and the Elite versions, who are green, can shoot 2 rocks at a time. Pretty interesting attack, but they're still not super tough to take down. I do like the Elite version, and both of these guys do appear a lot in a couple of the Chimp's challenges and prankster comments. Finally getting to a new enemy is the Flaptack, located in Fluffy Buff, Cloudy Court, and Flash Black Galaxy. The Flaptack is a bird enemy, and when it spots you, it will hover above you and will flip over to use its pointy top to pierce you, hence the name Flaptack. These mean birds may seem tough, especially in Flash Black Galaxy where there are a lot of them in the dark, but their attack is also their flaw, as they get stuck in the ground, making them easy targets. If you want, you could try to spin punch them in the air or shoot them down with star bits. And yes, these guys can even destroy your clouds. Up next is the Choppah. You can find it in Honey Bloom, Sweet Mystery, Honey Hop, Flip Out, and in the final level of Grandmaster Galaxy. The Choppah has a propeller on its neck, giving it the ability to fly like a helicopter, or I guess a chopper as of the unique name. They can get in your way when traversing through areas, especially in the 2D sections. They really do remind me a lot of the Spinner Badniks from Sonic Adventure in Colors, with the way they move. Unfortunately, Mario cannot defeat these guys, and I wouldn't try to jump on them because they do sport an orange spiked helmet. You can stun them for a bit with star bits, which can be handy in places like Flip Out Galaxy where you gotta make perfect jumps, and Yoshi can eat them whole. In Spindig, Flipsville, and Starshine Beach Galaxy, you might run into the Twirlip, a small onion-looking enemy that moves around by opening up as a flower and spinning like a top, which can hurt you. They aren't super difficult, it's very easy to take them out when they stop twirling, and you can jump on them while they're twirling, but I always find it hard to land on them when they're going around in circles in these little bonus rooms to get a 1-up. Just like with the Choppahs, you can stun them with star bits, and Yoshi can eat them once they close back up. What's also interesting about them is that they can take out other Twirlips, which you can see here in this section in Spindig Galaxy. only found in Spindleburr Galaxy is the Digga, which is pretty much a living mining drill that drills its way through the dirt. Of course you wouldn't want to get in its way, but they are super easy to defeat with a single jump. Or if you want, you can use a ground pound on them, or use the spin drill to get star bits out of them, rather than coins. It's also pretty neat that when they go through walls, such as in this part, they come out on the other side, and they can be fairly tough to avoid during the Digga-like boss fight, which, yes, this boss can spawn 2 of them at a time. The Piranha Plants from the previous game make a return, and they appear in quite a few galaxies such as Sky Station, Yoshi Star, Spindig, Fluffy Buff, Tall Trunk, Honey Hop, and Throwback Galaxy. When you get near them, they will try to bite you, but they're not very difficult to handle, as you can easily take them out with any attack. I noticed that in Throwback Galaxy, they appear to be a little bit taller with a longer stem, which does make you want to jump higher to be able to land on them. Some more threatening Piranha Plant variants are the Spiny Piranha Plant, found in Right Side Down in Throwback Galaxy, as well as the Prickly Piranha Plant, which only appears in Sky Station Galaxy. Both these plants pretty much act the same. They will try to slam you with their head, but defeating them is a little bit different. For the Spiny Purple one, you can stun it with a good old spin punch, and jump on its head when it slams down. The only thing you can't touch would be their spiny stem, and in Right Side Down Galaxy you can use a Fire Flower on this one. As for the Prickly Piranha Plant, which by the way looks super cool with its black color and the thorns on its head, the only way to defeat this one would be to fling these rubbery bulb plants towards it. You don't see them very much in the game, and the spiny one was in the first game. The Flip Bugs and Mandi Bugs also make a return, though they don't appear as much. The Flip Bugs can be spotted in Yoshi Star, Puzzle Plank, Tall Trunk, and Honey Hop Galaxy. Just like with before, these bugs are an absolute joke. The minute Mario's in their field of vision, they'll immediately cower away rather than fight, and this causes them to flip over due to being tired and making them easy targets. If you're Bee Mario, then these bugs will chase you, because they really do hate the bees. Probably some sort of tribal war, and the Flip Bugs can be hidden inside crystals, and Yoshi can make short work of them. The Mandi Bugs only appear in Puzzle Plank Galaxy, and there's only one in the entire game. Well, I guess 3 if you count the Mandi Bug parent mini-boss at the end of the level. They played a huge part in the last game, invading places that have bees. If you're in their sight, they will charge towards you, attempting to bite you with their mandibles, but you can easily jump on their back for a ground pound to defeat them. If you stay too long, the bug can flip you off, but in Puzzle Plank Galaxy, it doesn't really matter because on the wooden platform that this bug is on, it gets sawed off, and the parent Mandi Bug isn't really that different besides having a little one on its back, and it charges even faster when it gets mad at you for defeating its child. Octo Guy is back in Boulder Bowl, Honey Hop, and Shiverburn Galaxy. Man, I love the name of this guy. Anyways, Octo Guy is similar to an Octoomba, but with a bigger head, magenta color, and is way more active. When you're close, Octo Guy will run towards you and shoot rocks at you. They also know when to keep their distance, as they will constantly try to evade you to get another shot at you. Not very difficult, but it's cool to see Octo Guy back again. Similar to Octo Guy is the Rocto, or Oda Rock, only found in Shiverburn and Grandmaster Galaxy. These ones are a lot bigger and come out of these barrels. They can either shoot fireballs or a melon/coconut at you. The coconut is the only projectile you can hit back towards them, which instantly defeats them. They were seen quite a lot in the last game, and can be quite a challenge in this section of Grandmaster Galaxy. Up next is the Slurple. Yes, those annoying little blue creatures that like to literally suck the life out of you. Thankfully, a single spin punch is all you need to defeat them, and they only appear in 2 galaxies, Puzzle Plank and Upside Dizzy Galaxy. I always thought these guys were quite annoying in the first game, but here in Galaxy 2 you hardly see them. While exploring Right Side Down, Upside Dizzy, and Battle Belt Galaxy, you'll meet the Swaphopper, a really cool looking bug-like enemy that hops along the ground, and yeah, they will chase you. You can't really jump on their head because, you know, they've got a spike, but change the room's gravity, or in some cases wait for it to change, and you can jump on their underside for an instant KO. I find that it's best to wait for them to stop moving before jumping on them, as you might accidentally jump towards their side, which can get you hurt. You can also push them back with spin punches. They're such a unique enemy exclusive to these gravity sections, and they do have a successor called the Swaphopper, which is in Super Mario 3D Land. Next, we have the Fuzzy, and this is actually their first ever 3D appearance in a Mario game. So yeah, that's a little neat factor there. You'll find them in Honey Bloom and Flipsville Galaxy. The Fuzzies mainly act as obstacles you have to dodge, especially in Honey Bloom when they move along these orange poles and you gotta wait for them to move out of the way. You can stun them with star bits, and in Flipsville Galaxy you can use the spin drill to take them out for some star bits. It's great to see them in 3D form, and these guys get to be seen more often in the next games that come after. One enemy that I find really cool in 3D World is the Fizzlit, and before I didn't know that they first debuted in Mario Galaxy 2. The Fizzlit can be located in Cosmic Cove, Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet, Space Storm Galaxy, and Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker. The Fizzlits are these small purple blob-looking things. They'll jump around an area and can make themselves into an electric puddle that you certainly wouldn't want to touch. Obviously, you defeat them before they're electrified, and the same goes for Yoshi when he wants to try to eat them. And you can stop them in their tracks with star bits. The areas where you get to be Mario can be quite fun. However, there are some traps that can get in your way while flying around. In a Honey Bloom Galaxy, there's a spiky plant called a Spindleburr, and when you're close, they will try to fling their spiky top at you. Now, thankfully, they don't reach very far, which is good. Another plant trap in the same galaxy, and also appearing in Honey Hop Galaxy, is the Trap Dragon, a simple-looking flower with a coin or silver star hovering above it. If you land on it in a few seconds, the bowl-like stem will swallow you, taking away a life. So you gotta keep on moving with these plants. Not very difficult traps, but you do have to be extremely careful around tight spaces. So now that we're on traps, we have the Grinder next, only located in Puzzle Plank and Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy. They're saw-like hazard enemies you obviously wouldn't want to bump into unless you're rolling around on this big glass sphere with a star inside. Then you won't get hurt. They mainly saw off parts of the platform you're standing on when you get close to them. Some can be large, and then you have these smaller ones in this section that just move around without cutting anything. And yes, the Grinder can take out any Goombas or flip bugs that stray in its path. So there are three types of nozzle shooters in the game, the water and fire shooter and the zap nozzle. If you look at them closely, the nozzle part in all three of them looks exactly like Flood from Super Mario Sunshine. The water shooter can be found in these galaxies in Galaxy 2, and in these ones from Mario Galaxy 1. I didn't talk about them in my Galaxy 1 video, so I figured I might as well add those locations as well. The water shooters mainly shoot bubbles, which can be helpful in some places, but in galaxies such as Buoy Base and Space Storm, they can knock you off. Not to mention that in Space Storm, they shoot really fast. The fire shooter, found only in Bowser's Galaxy Generator for Galaxy 2, shoots fireballs, which are pretty easy to dodge while gliding down. In Galaxy 1, the giant robot in Toy Time Galaxy that you climb on has a fire shooter that functions the same, but in other galaxies, they just shoot out fire instead. Last of the nozzles is the Zap nozzle, which only appears in Space Storm Galaxy. It will shoot out an electric ball that will kind of follow you as you make your way towards the star via pull stars. One enemy/hazard that's really easy to miss is the Eye Beamer from Galaxy 1, and they only appear in Dusty Dune and Dreadnought Galaxy. They just look like platforms hovering around the area, but if you look closely they have an eye, which is where their beam comes in, and yes, walking into this beam will get you shocked. They don't move very fast, and at some point in Dreadnought Galaxy you have to ride on some of them to make your way towards the star while dodging more of them. They've got to be one of the hazard enemies you'll probably forget, and I remember Nico BBQ mentioning about the Eye Beamer being a secret and overlooked enemy in one of his older videos. The Chain Chomps appear once again, even adding a new variant of Chain Chomp. The big ones we see rolling around can be seen in Flip Swap, Right Side Down, Boulder Bowl, Flipsville, and Chompworks Galaxy. A golden Chain Chomp also appears in Chompworks, where you have to guide it to this hole in order to get your star, hence why it's gold. The Chain Chomps pretty much roll around, and you can't really defeat them. Usually you would just need a superstar to do that, but there's none around when they appear. Not even Rock Mario can destroy them. Chain Chomps can get destroyed when they collide into a wall, or you could use these flip hatches, which can get you hurt. To get star bits out of them, you need two of them to collide into each other, or if they bump into this gear moat over here in Chompworks. You'll also find small chomps in Sky Station and Chompworks Galaxy. Unlike the bigger ones, they roll around in a circle on these tracks, and in Sky Station you can use a superstar, or those rubbery ball plants to destroy them. And yes, the Chain Chomps can squish any enemies that get in their way. The new Chain Chomp variant in this game is called the Homing Chomp, located in Rolling Masterpiece, Slip Sand, and Battle Belt Galaxy. They're big chain chomps only colored gray with red eyes, and as in the name, they follow you around and will home in on your location. It's cool how in Rolling Masterpiece Galaxy, one sort of acts like a mini-boss where you must push it off this platform while rolling around on this big sphere to make it to the end. In Slip Sand Galaxy, there's one that chases you while you're on the Sandbird, and you gotta be extremely careful not to fall in the quicksand. And in Battle Belt Galaxy, you have to take out multiple of them with the rubbery ball plants. It's a really neat version of the Chain Chomp, and they get utilized very well in each galaxy they appear in. When I said the Goomba was the most common enemy with even more appearances than one I already showed, I wasn't kidding, because up next is the Paragoomba, appearing in all of these galaxies you can see on screen. It's a Goomba with wings, and they fly around in a set path. Not much to worry about because they don't chase you. However, if you hit them or use Yoshi, which takes away their wings, they become a normal Goomba and will start chasing you. So yeah, this adds even more locations for the regular Goomba. It is satisfying jumping off of them to reach other platforms, and they can be quite annoying when you have to navigate your way through narrow areas or traps. Next, we have Astro Goombas in Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, Beat Block, and Chompworks Galaxy. These guys were seen a lot in the last game, and this is what I think all the Goombas should look like in Mario Galaxy, prepared and trained for space environments. The Astro Goombas sport a huge helmet, which makes it so that you can't see their face at all, except for their glowing orange eyes, and the helmet prevents you from squishing them. To defeat them, you must knock them over with a spin punch, and then jump on their underside, or if you want, you could lure them towards a Thwomp, Chain Chomps, and knock them into the lava. Remember this guy in Mario Galaxy 1? This is Cosmic Mario, an evil cosmic doppelganger that will race you to the star in a few of the areas. I found him annoying at first, but after playing the game, this guy's a complete joke, and I'll always win every time. In Galaxy 2, Cosmic Mario is kind of in the game, but they're duplicates called Cosmic Clones. They appear in Sky Station, Spindig, Fluffy Buff, Cloudy Court, Haunty Halls, Chompworks, Mario Squared, and Flip Out Galaxy. The Cosmic Clone is pretty much a red version of Cosmic Mario / Luigi. Here they show up in certain sections with a certain amount, and they will follow your exact movements. They're not super challenging in some areas, but in Flip Out Galaxy, they can get really annoying when you gotta make precise jumps while also flipping the blocks, dodging spikes, and other enemies that can get in your way. You can't really defeat them, only when you accomplish something they just burst into star bits. And if one bumps into you, then it won't respawn ever. I actually don't mind the Cosmic Clones too much. They bring something new and challenging to the game. and the Cosmic Clone does make another appearance in 3D Land, except for in that game there's only one, which is a huge relief. Let's move on to some desert type enemies that only appear in Slip Sand Galaxy. We've got Cluckboom and the Pokehead. And yes, these two enemies did appear in the previous Galaxy game on Dusty Dune Galaxy. The Cluckboom is a rooster-like enemy flying around an area, and it will poop out ticking time bombs. If you stay clear, you'll be fine. You can use Starbits to bring them down to the ground, or if you really want to, you could try to jump up and hit them yourself. The Pokeheads aren't that tough to deal with. Just like in Mario Galaxy 1 and Super Mario Sunshine, the heads will pop out of the ground and will hop towards you. Here in Slip Sand, it can be a little bit tricky trying to defeat them while moving on running sand, but that's all there really is to it. Flipsville Galaxy is such a unique galaxy. You gotta flip around on some grates in these little rooms and areas, and this galaxy is home to the Pup Dozer, a simple dino-like creature that minds its own business and will walk back and forth in areas. They're pretty much harmless, but you can't really jump on them because they do sport some spikes on their back and head, so what you have to do is flip to under the grates, and when they walk over it on the other side, ground pound the grate to flip again, and the Pup Dozer will flip over and perish. You can sort of rattle them with a spin punch, but flipping them over the grate is the only way to take them down. I kinda feel bad for hurting them. They don't really hinder you except to get in your way sometimes. I'm not sure if you would even consider these two to be enemies, but you can defeat them, and they're tied to this cool monkey in the shades who calls himself the Chimp. In a few galaxies, you might run into the Chimp, and he has some crazy challenges that can get you a sweet power star. And the challenges with these unique enemies are the bowling and ice skating ones. The Chimp's bowling challenge in Melty Monster Galaxy has you use the rock mushroom to knock down as many pinheads as you can for 5,000 points. You can see the pinheads in Boulder Bowl Galaxy, and they just drop star bits. All you have to do is become a boulder and run them over. You can see that the pinheads are terrified when you boulder up, and in case you're curious, if you try to walk up to them, they will just hide in their hole. The second enemies that are part of the Chimp's Skating Challenge in Freezy, Flake, and Shiverpur and Galaxy are the Gummits, and you'll want to hit as many as you can within a time limit to reach the highest score. Green ones are worth 10 points, golden ones are 50, and there are purple spiked Gummits that throw you off. They don't damage you, but can lose you precious time if you accidentally bump into these ones. Wiggler is back, and unfortunately this happy caterpillar doesn't appear too much in the sequel as he did in the last game. You only see Wiggler in Puzzle Plank, Tall Trunk, and Throwback Galaxy. Wiggler's a pretty passive enemy at first. You know, walking around minding his own business, until you jump on him or flip him over, then he'll get so mad that he'll start chasing you angry red, until he either bumps into you or you get out of his area. Not a very difficult enemy to fight, as you could just use a ground pound or jump on him while he's flipped over for a quick defeat. In Tall Trunk Galaxy, when you're on the slide, you'll see a couple of Wigglers angry and happy in your way, so you'll have to dodge them, and you can't jump on them on the slide, otherwise you'll take damage. Lakitu has always been an annoying enemy throughout the 2D games, but here he's pretty chill and doesn't chuck as many Spinies, and you'll run into both of them in Yoshi Star and Starshine Beach Galaxy, and the Spinies also appear in Tall Trunk Galaxy on the slide section, just like Wiggler becoming a hazard to dodge. These two have always gone hand in hand together in every Mario game, and they work pretty well. The Spinies will chase you upon sight, and you can't even touch these guys, making them more of a threat at first, especially on bad terrain. But once you get a Superstar or Yoshi, the tables have turned and you can take these guys out very quickly. Yoshi can even put a Spiny in his mouth to use as a projectile to fling at other enemies, or break glass domes to progress. As for Lakitu, all he does is circle around you and will throw a Spiny after one has been defeated. You can easily take him out in a number of ways, but it's easier to use Yoshi to eat his cloud, stunning him for a few seconds. Lakitu can respawn so you don't softlock yourself, and oddly enough, the Spinies can survive being underwater. Coming in next is the Smeech, found in Yoshi Star, Hightail Falls, Haunty Halls, Sweet Mystery, and Starshine Beach Galaxy. The Smeech is one enemy that doesn't bother Mario but will gladly chase Yoshi around. If you're in its vicinity with Yoshi, it will fly towards you, latch its lips on Yoshi, and will endlessly be kissing him until you shake it off by flinging the Wii Remote, which is how you defeat them. Or you could jump on top of them too. They don't seem as bad, but in some galaxies where you have to utilize the ball berry and worry about the floor disappearing, then yeah, they can be quite annoying, especially if you haven't figured out how to get rid of them. If you dismount Yoshi, they will immediately fly away from Mario, so I guess they find Yoshi more attractive to bother. Space Storm Galaxy is a pretty cool looking galaxy, and it's pretty much a mashup of Dreadnought and Bowie based Galaxy from Galaxy 1, and there are a few enemies exclusive to this galaxy, such as the return of the Topman tribe. The Top Minis are the small Topmen that will try to push you, and you can easily take them out with a Spin Punch. The red ones, which are bigger, have a spike, meaning you can't jump on them, but you can push them towards electric barriers or off ledges. This silver Gearmo over here really digs these guys, as you have to guide one towards him for a bonus star. The last Topman is the Spring Topman. It can bump you like the rest. Its head is a spring though, making it useful to reach high areas. And yes, you can push them into electric barriers for a coin as well. And all of these Topmen can respawn in certain areas throughout the galaxy. There's also the Spring Vault, which acts similar to the Spring Topman, but it's in the ground and it shoots out pulse beams to try to stop you. They were seen quite a lot in Galaxy 1. Some other enemies in Space Storm Galaxy are the Zap Ball and the Amp, which also appeared in Sky Station and Spin Dig Galaxy. Both of them pretty much act the same. They move around an area, and if you bump into them, you'll be in for a nasty shock. The Zap Balls, which can remain stationary, have no face like the Amp, and in some areas they can both move very fast. For the Amp, you can actually defeat them using a Superstar if you grab one in this bonus 1-up room just before you get teleported away. The Bob-omb can also be found in Space Storm Galaxy, and appears in Rolling Masterpiece and Rolling Coaster Galaxy. Unlike in Galaxy 1, the Bob-omb doesn't appear a whole lot. Its appearance in Space Storm is what really matters the most. The Bob-ombs can come out of these hatches, which also makes them respawn, and once they notice you, they'll ignite, chase, and will eventually explode once the ticking ticks faster. You can hit them, which makes them lose their feet. You can then carry them and throw them, which is helpful for destroying glass domes or taking out the Topman tribe. This section over here is really clever, where you have to guide this Bob-omb to blow up this glass dome to enter the path. In the two galaxies where you roll around on a giant ball with a power star inside, the Bob-ombs mainly serve as obstacles, and if you run one over, their explosion can send you flying, and you could fall off. A hazard enemy that I missed in my Galaxy 1 video is the Pulse Beam, located in Toy Time, Dreadnought, Shiverburn, and Grandmaster Galaxy, as well as the Ball Beamer, which can be found in Buoy Base and Deep Dark Galaxy. Both of these hazards function exactly the same. When you're close, they'll shoot at 3 Pulse Beams at a time, just like the Spring Volts, and for the Pulse Beam, they have a white circle that outlines their area in some galaxies. You can't really destroy or affect them, especially since the Pulse Beam does have spikes. However, there is one Ball Beamer that has a gold screw on top of it in Buoy Base, which you can destroy. They're not really that hard to deal with. The Pulse Beam can be a little bit tricky in Grandmaster Galaxy's Daredevil Comet Star, but as long as you still have at least one Cloud with Cloud Mario, you should survive. Up next is the Sentry Beam, and you encounter them in the last world in Mario Squared and Grandmaster Galaxy. The Sentry Beams are these cool looking robot heads that when you go near them, they shoot out a laser beam from their mouth that can shock you. Thankfully, they're pretty slow at moving their lasers, so you can easily run past them with no trouble. You may not be able to defeat them at all, but you can stand on top of them, which makes them not do anything at all. I like their design a lot, and yes, they were from the previous game. Yep, Lil Burr and Lil Cinder are back, as well, like most of the Galaxy 1 enemies. Lil Burr can be seen in Cosmic Cove, Freezy Flake, and Battle Belt Galaxy. Then Lil Cinder is also found in Freezy Flake and Battle Belt, but also makes appearances in Melty Monster in Mario Squared Galaxy. As you can tell just by their name and by looking at them, they're both very similar. Lil Burr can freeze you into a popsicle, while Lil Cinder will burn your butt off. You can defeat both of these hovering enemies by extinguishing them with a spin punch, followed by a punt for a coin. When they're extinguished, they'll turn into a rock and will attempt to hop back to their source to attack again. Lil Cinder just needs to dip into the lava again. As for Lil Burr, there's no freezing water around like in Freeze Flame Galaxy from Galaxy 1 for it to hop back into, so it's basically helpless. I love the names for these guys, and Lil Cinder can even be spawned in by Magic Koopa in Bowser's Lava Lair and Gravity Gauntlet. We are getting near to the final few enemies, and I grouped them up into categories because a few of them are pretty similar and appear in the same environments. Let's talk about the enemies that will crush you, starting with the infamous Thwomp, which you can find in Right Side Down, Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, Space Storm, Fleet Glide, Throwback, and Stone Cyclone Galaxy. The Thwomp is this massive stone block enemy with an angry face, and from time to time they slam the ground, and getting crushed by one or any of its relatives is an instant death. You just have to wait for them to go back up and run underneath them before they crash down. In some areas they slam very fast, so you'll have to find a pressure button that slows down time to make things much easier. You can climb on top of a Thwomp. Related to the Thwomp is the Tox Box, and they only appear in Stone Cyclone Galaxy, which is just a short section pulled from Galaxy 1's Beach Bowl Galaxy. The Tox Box is a giant stone box with multiple faces that moves very fast on the path it patrols on. Slowing down time does help, or if you stand in the right spot, you can let the mouth/opening in the Tox Box cover you without getting crushed, and then running past them. You gotta love how each side of the Tox Box has two faces depending on its position. Some other relatives of the Thwomp are the Bomp and Rhomp. The Bomp is a big stone block with a face like the rest of them, except they're embedded into walls and from time to time will move out to block your way or push you off. You can easily jump on top of them, which is what you do in Fluffy Buff Galaxy to progress, and they appear in Throwback Galaxy, which is a remake of Whomp's Fortress where they originally debuted. The Rhomp, which is only found in the Pyramid Slandside section of Slipsand Galaxy, is a big stone cylinder with a smiley face that rolls down the slide attempting to crush you, which is an instant death by the way. You can easily dodge them on the slide, and so far this is the only Mario game they appear in. Last of the Thwomp relatives are the Flomp, Whomp, and Wimp. The Flomp is a platform with a stone face on it, and when they get mad they flip, which can send you flying back or in lava. They're not too difficult to time, and you can find them in Bowser's Lava Lair and Grandmaster Galaxy, which is where I think they become the most challenging. The Whomps appear in Bowser's Lava Lair and Gravity Gauntlet, as well as Throwback Galaxy, which is Whomp's Fortress. They are huge stone slabs with goofy looking faces that patrol around, and when they see you, they'll slam their body onto you. If you dodge their slam by crawling between their legs, you can run on their back and do a ground pound to instantly defeat them. In the boss fight against the Whomp King in Throwback Galaxy, you'll encounter Wimps that the King can summon. They're smaller baby-looking versions that move fast, and when they slam, they immediately destroy themselves. You can actually use spin punches and ground pounds on them for a coin, but honestly, they're kind of forgettable minions because most of the time they get destroyed by the Whomp King, who's the main highlight of the galaxy. With the whole Thwomp family done, let us now move on to some of Bowser's most elite units you can typically find in castle levels, and in a couple of one-off galaxies. The Bullet Bills are back, appearing in Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet, Fleet Glide Race, Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker, Bowser's Galaxy Reactor, and Grandmaster Galaxy. The Bullet Bills will home in on you like before, which can come in handy as you can guide them to break glass domes. However, some Bullet Bills have actually lost the ability to home in on you, so they simply fly in a straight line without bothering you. Obviously, you don't want to get hit by one, and Yoshi can even eat Bullet Bills to spit back out, just like with the Spinies to destroy stuff. You want to do it quickly though, as when they're in Yoshi's mouth, they'll keep on ticking until eventually exploding. The Bonsai Bills are also here, located in Sky Station, Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet, Fleet Glide Galaxy, and Bowser's Galaxy Generator. These bigger Bullet Bills don't home in on you and mainly serve as obstacles. You can defeat them with the rubbery ball plants and a superstar. Tied to the Bullet Bill is the Undergrunt and Gunner in Bowser Jr.'s Fearsome Fleet. It's a blue mole and a clown car looking thing that can fire some Bullet Bills, which is a better upgrade from Galaxy 1 where there are mini-bosses that shoot water bubbles or zap balls. It is an upgrade, but with Yoshi around you can just shoot the Bullet Bills back at them, giving them a taste of their own medicine. If you don't defeat them and go up close, they will duck under their cockpit with only their spiked helmet showing, so you wouldn't want to jump on them. They do appear in Fleet Glide Galaxy as well, except for they only fire cannonballs. The Undergrunts from the first game also return, but only 2 of them appear in Battle Belt Galaxy. The moles with the spiked helmets are burrowing underground, and you just need to do a ground pound to stun them followed by a spin punch. And this time around they can drop star bits rather than coins. One of Bowser's most elite units in his empire has to be the Magic Koopas, and you can find them in Yoshi's Star, Slip Sand Galaxy, Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, Bowser's Lava Lair, Gravity Gauntlet, and Galaxy Generator. Depending on the galaxy, these guys can do different things. They typically would use their staff to shoot fireballs at you, and then will teleport away to attack again. I already mentioned this before, but in some galaxies, they can spawn in mini Goombas and little cinders to attack you, which is cool, but I like their main fireball attack better, which works really well in the Sandbird and Slip Sand Galaxy, as they can destroy the sand blocks you're standing on. They can block star bits, which delays them for a few seconds before they teleport away, and Yoshi can straight up eat them.
Wow!
Next is Bowser's Mecha Koopa, which you encounter in Cosmic Cove and Flipsville Galaxy. They're robot Koopas that resemble Bowser and will breathe out fire when they notice you. You can stun them and destroy them with ground pounds and the spin drill. I really like the Mario Galaxy design of them better than the regular look. It makes them look kind of intimidating and not as goofy looking. In places like Chompworks, Melting Monster Galaxy, Bowser's Lava Lair, and Gravity Gauntlet, you'll run into some lava bubbles that like to shoot out of the lava from time to time, blocking your path. As you'll notice straight away, the lava bubbles don't actually have any eyes like they normally do, and you can't really defeat them. In Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet, they do become more of a problem when they're jumping between lava pits with the gravity all messed up. Melting Monster Galaxy is home to the Magmaargh and Magmaw, who are these big lava creatures that you definitely do not want to bump into. The Magmaars are the biggest ones. They hide in the lava with a bit of their head showing, and when you're near, they'll pop out to try to bite you, so you'll have to react fast. The Magmaws, on the other hand, appear near the end of the first star. They'll move in the lava, passing through the rocks which are charred, and you just need to move quickly to avoid them. The Magmaars also show up in Fleeklide Galaxy and Bowser's Galaxy Generator. They both make a comeback in New Super Mario Bros. U, and they even have a relative called the Charvar in 3D World, which has a pretty sleek design. One of my favorite enemies in the game that is actually pretty challenging in larger numbers is the Hammer and Boomerang Bro, and they appear in the following galaxies on screen. The Hammer Bros are really annoying in any 2D Mario game, but here in Galaxy 2, they're not as bad, but they can snipe you with their hammer throws, which gets really annoying in the final star of Grandmaster Galaxy, where you only have one life. The Hammer Bros throw 2 hammers at a time, and the Boomerang Bros throw 2 boomerangs, and we'll wait for them to come back, or we'll throw 2 again once they're destroyed. Both of these elite Koopas do like to jump around the area. You can spin punch hammers and jump on boomerangs, and Yoshi can hold them in his mouth to spit back out towards them. They're not super tough, but it does get hectic when you deal with a lot of them at a time like in Grandmaster Galaxy. And to defeat them, you can stun them with spin punches, jumps, or Yoshi, and then punt them. Bowser has some neat enemies in his castles, so now we have some sets of enemies that you can find in underwater and tropical galaxies. Unfortunately, Torpedo Ted is not in Galaxy 2, which is a shame.
Huh? Now, Ted, I thought that you might like to go to America, What part do you think?
Well, Las Vegas?
Oh, I'm sorry, Ted, I meant South America. Oh, look, you see, there's a lovely little island off the coast of Suriname, and they have a couple of tribes there. You're going to love this.
The Cheep Cheeps are a very peaceful fish enemy, minding its own business in Cosmic Cove, Starshine Beach Galaxy, and for some reason there's two in Bowser's Gravity Gauntlet of all places. They will swim around in the water, and you could easily take them out with spin punches. Jumping on them if they're above the water, skating into them while frozen, and Yoshi can eat them. It's nice we get to see them swim around rather than hopping all over a planetoid from the first game. Starshine Beach Galaxy is the only galaxy that has the Blooper, and these things will relentlessly chase you once they fully notice you. At least they're a little bit slow at following you, and not as fast as the ones in New Super Mario Bros. DS and Wii. I actually didn't know this at first, because I assumed that only a Koopa Shell can defeat them, but yeah, you can take them out with a spin punch just like the Cheep Cheeps, and they release a coin upon defeated. I also lured one towards the surface to see if Yoshi would eat one, and sadly he couldn't. While here, there's also Clampy, a giant clam that opens and closes that has a coin on its tongue instead of a star chip you can nab. And if you stay too long, it will slam shut, damaging you. And you can use star bits to force it open. Also appearing in Starshine Beach Galaxy is the Crabber. They sort of move away while facing you, and they can block frontal attacks. To defeat them, you just have to get behind them and whack their rear for some star bits. Yoshi can gobble them up and can spit their pincer out as a boomerang to hit other enemies. They can also be found in Boulder Bowl and Battle Belt Galaxy. These two galaxies do have the Cyan Crabber that runs away from you, and just like in Galaxy 1, these Crabbers can drop 1-up mushrooms upon defeat. It should be noted that the Crabbers don't bury themselves in the sand to reappear somewhere else in the area like they do in Galaxy 1. One really obscure enemy in Mario Galaxy is the pufferfish, and if you remember from before, they appeared in Drip Drop Galaxy, where if you break open a certain chest, they'll burst out to damage you, and even if you move out of the way, they rush to the surface and die after you've saved them. Talk about ungrateful, and one only appears in Cosmic Cove blocking your path, and this time you can take it out with a Koopa Shell. The Gringle Eels are pretty cool and creepy in Galaxy 1, and unfortunately you don't see them swim around. Instead, they hide in cave openings and will try to bite you when you're close. You can use a Koopa Shell to take one out, and you'll find them in Cosmic Cove, Starshine Beach, and Slimy Spring Galaxy. Jammy and Big Jellyfish from Big Mouth Galaxy show up in Cosmic Cove. The Big Jellyfish can electrocute you if you collide into it, and it takes 2 Koopa shells to bring it down. As for the Jammy Fish, there's only one, and it appears swimming around in this side-scrolling section. And I didn't know this, but you can spin punch them, and it works the same in the first game. In Hightail Falls Galaxy, there's a star you can get, but you have to collect a bunch of silver stars, and it just so happens that these little buggers called Kleptoads are making off with them on the planetoid. You'll see them holding a silver star or a coin in a bubble, and you can take them out with any attack. They don't drop coins or star bits, and you better get your star fast before another one steals it. They always respawn from these burrows, and the only way these toads can hurt you is if you bump into one. They're not the most interesting enemies, but hey, a small enemy that makes off with your silver stars is really funny, and at least you don't have to catch rabbits or penguins. The Koopa is such an iconic enemy in the Mario franchise, just as popular as the Goomba, and one only appears in Cosmic Cove Galaxy. Well, there is another Koopa which we'll get into later, but the purpose of this lone Koopa is so you have a Koopa shell to explore underwater. The Koopa is just minding its own business. You can rattle it, jump on it, and wait for it to pop back out, and it will endlessly respawn. I always find it interesting how the Koopas in Mario Galaxy walk on all fours like in the older games rather than walking on 2 legs with shoes, which was already established since Super Mario World. They've got this angry expression as well. I mean, the Koopas in Mario Sunshine did walk on all fours, but those ones were really weird. Mario Galaxy also has this really obscure enemy called a Mikey Mine, which is an underwater naval mine with a face, and you only encounter them in the side-scrolling section of Cosmic Cove, where the Jammy Fish is. Obviously, if you bump into the mine, it will explode, and they will appear damaged, but will later regenerate to explode again. To make things easier, you can shoot them with star bits and then slip past them. In space, there are space mines which appear in a lot of these galaxies in both games. They look similar to the Mikey Mines, only without a face, and sport some spikes. These mines mainly serve as obstacles when traversing through galaxies. Some of them can move in a set path, which you can see in Galaxy 1 with the faint line they move across on. Yoshi can't eat them, and starbits can be used to destroy them. In Galaxy 2, some of these mines can drop coins, 1-ups, and starbits. So these next two aren't really underwater enemies, but you can find them in places with a lot of water. The bats from Galaxy 1 can be found in Fleet Glide and Slimy Spring Galaxy. They fly around an area, and once they fully notice you, they'll try to swoop down on you to land a hit. You only get to fight them in Slimy Spring Galaxy, and they're super easy to take out without a fuss. At least the annoying ice variants, which can only be defeated with a fire flower, aren't here. The Peta Peta or Star Bag is also here. They appeared in quite a few handfuls of galaxies. However, you only see 2 of them in Starshine Beach Galaxy's second star. The Star Bag is invisible, only leaving tracks in the sand, and if you stay still, they'll appear. You have to chase and stun them first before you can defeat them, and they drop 20 star bits, which is a pretty generous amount. It's too bad we don't see them too much, and in case you're wondering, they cannot hurt you at all. Skeeters have appeared in quite a few Mario games, with each one of them being a little bit different. They're essentially a water strider-like enemy that glides on the surface of water, and they can look pretty goofy. In Galaxy 2, the Skeeters are fairly large and will chase you when you swim in their path by striding super fast. They look super angry too, as they're trying to kill you, but any attack can take care of them. You can stun them, Yoshi can eat them, and you can freeze them into popsicles. You'll mainly find them in places like Cosmic Cove, Starshine Beach, and Throwback Galaxy. Next is the Spine Cone, which you can find in Starshine Beach and Boo Moon Galaxy. It's a snail with a spiky shell that patrols around an area, becoming a potential hazard. And just look at those nervous looking eyes. Now you can't defeat them, which is unfortunate, and they get utilized pretty well in Boo Moon Galaxy, where you got to traverse through these tight sections as Boo Mario, dodging the Spine Cones along the way. While swimming underwater in Cosmic Cove and Slimy Spring Galaxy, you'll bump into this thing called a Snoodle, which is a pretty cool and clever enemy for underwater environments. It starts off sleeping, then once you're close enough, it will wake up all angry and will try to lean towards you to either damage or block your way. And there's quite a lot of them. If you have a Koopa shell, you can launch it at them or simply shine the light in their eyes and they'll poof into Starbits. Starbits can also kill them for coins, and you can spin punch them while swimming. The Snoodle's probably one of the most unique underwater enemies in this game. Last of the underwater enemies is the Urchin, located in Starshine Beach in Slimy Spring Galaxy. If you get too close, they'll show off their spikes and will roll towards you to get a hit. You can easily swim past them, and if you want, you can defeat them with a Koopa Shell in Slimy Spring Galaxy. Battle Belt Galaxy is the only place that has the red Ground Urchin. It does the same thing, only on land, and you just need to use this Fire Flower over here to burn them into a nice dish. The Water Urchin definitely has more uses in Galaxy 2, but I like it better when both Urchins were utilized way better in Freeze Flame Galaxy from Galaxy 1. We have a couple of miscellaneous enemies before getting to our final group. In Supermassive Galaxy, you'll find the Giant Goomba from Gateway Galaxy, Giant Paragoomba, Koopa, Wiggler, Piranha Plant, and Thwomp. They're just the same old enemies, only giant. Even the Luma over here is giant. The giant Thwomp, Wiggler, and Piranha Plant serve as obstacles and can't be defeated. You can, though, jump on the Wiggler, and spin punch the Piranha Plant to delay it. The giant Goomba and Paragoomba can be defeated with spin punches like with any other small Goomba. The giant Paragoomba does not chase you unless it loses its wings, and you can't jump on their heads, which is pretty weird. The giant Koopa is definitely this galaxy's main highlight, and for one good reason. If you manage to jump on its shell and keep on bouncing, you'll get infinite 1-ups, which can be super helpful, and you can defeat these Koopas by using the spin drill. The Bomboo and Blue Lava Bubble from Galaxy 1 do appear in this game. However, you can only find them in Boss Blitz Galaxy, where they serve as the minions to their respective bosses. The Blue Lava Bubble assists King Caliente by hopping towards you once summoned, and you can easily take them down with Star Bits. The Bomboo, which I did call Boom Boo in my Galaxy 1 video, which was a typo on my end, assists Bouldergeist, one of the coolest bosses from Galaxy 1. This black-colored boo with yellow eyes is not shy like its ordinary relatives. It will chase you and will explode upon contact. Bouldergeist can spawn them in by throwing black rocks or when he's vulnerable, and that's when you can grab the boo's tongue to fling back at the boss to do damage. You better hurry though, as after a while the boo will explode unless you let it go or hit Bouldergeist. Not gonna lie, this is a pretty neat galaxy with a rematch against some Galaxy 1 bosses. Although personally, I think they should have added Camilla. She was just as cool and memorable as King Caliente and Bouldergeist. Our final set of enemies are of course all the spooky ones. Better save the best for last. And with summer now over, Halloween is just around the corner, and we're busting out Luigi for some of the footage. I'm sure you remember the Sprangler and Spoing, the two spider enemies from Galaxy 1, although they both don't appear in any spooky galaxies. The Sprangler is in Yoshi Star Galaxy, the Spoing is in Flip Out Galaxy, and you can find both of them in Tall Trunk Galaxy. The Spoing stays on the ground, and if you're close to it, it will jump up and down pretty slowly. These guys aren't very threatening. Maybe in Flip Out Galaxy, when you're being chased by cosmic clones, they could become a potential threat to dodge, but you can easily run underneath them or go around them. And any attack can take care of them. The Sprangler hangs on a silk thread and will try to swing towards you to do damage when you're close. And you can very easily stun them, making them vulnerable for you to punt them like a football. Coming in next is the Boo, flying its way in Haunty Halls, Boom Moon, Battle Belt, and Slimy Spring Galaxy. The Boos will show up in any spooky looking place, and they will relentlessly chase you when you're not looking. But if you do turn to face them, they appear all shy and you can use spin punches to flip them around. In Galaxy 1, you just had to lead them towards light, which kills them. Only here you can't really defeat them on the ground. And they can become really menacing in Boom Moon Galaxy, where you gotta find the launch star in these tight hallways with secret doors, and tons of Boos lurking around the corners. Haunty Halls Galaxy has the Mega Boo, accompanied by 4 Big Boos that chase you twice in the galaxy. You can easily outrun them to the launch star and power star, and if you look at them, they'll stay put all shy like an ordinary Boo. In underwater settings in Battle Belt and Slimy Spring Galaxy, the Boos act a little bit differently. This time they are not shy and just passively roam around the water, becoming a hazard. You can hit them with star bits, and they can be defeated when you shine a light at them via the Koopa Shell. Haunty Halls, Boo Moon, and Flash Black Galaxy are the only place where you'll find the Octo Boo, a ghostly version of the Octoomba. Thankfully, they don't shoot rocks at you, but instead patrol around in a set path in areas throughout these galaxies. They're quite easy to dodge, and if you do a spin punch on them or star bits, they turn invisible and you can touch them without getting hurt. You may not be able to defeat them, but they make a nice variety of enemy to dodge in these galaxies, especially in the snake block sections of Boo Moon. Last of the Goomba variants is the Jacko Goomba, and you can find them in Haunty Halls, Boo Moon, Clockwork Ruins, Battle Belt, and Flash Black Galaxy. Just like with the Paragoomba, the Jacko Goombas are also pretty passive, walking around very slowly minding their own business, and from time to time they light a blue flame from their feet, which lingers in the area for a while. But if you ask me, it kind of looks like they just fart fire. Now because they have a jack-o'-lantern on their head, it serves them as a helmet, protecting them from stomps and starbits. However, ground pounds can be used to instantly squish them. You can of course do a spin punch to destroy the jack-o'-lantern, making them into an ordinary Goomba to fight. I also wouldn't ground pound them the minute they fart out fire. They're an interesting variant of Goomba, and it's great we see them more in the game. Appearing in Bowser's Lava Lair in Haunty Hall's Galaxy is the Mattermouth, a big skeleton head that looks similar to dry bones, and what they do is eat up sections of a floor which can make traversing past them a little bit difficult, as you wouldn't want to fall to your death. In Bowser's Lava Lair, the floor does regenerate, so it's not too bad there. In Haunty Halls, however, the floor is always moving, which can be challenging. You can't defeat the Mattermouth, but you can delay it with stomps, spin punches, and starbits, which makes it turn around to eat the floor behind it again. Probably one of the best new enemies introduced here in the game, and they can damage you if you accidentally bump into them. Last, and certainly not least, is your boy Drybones, showing up in Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, Bowser's Lava Lair and Gravity Gauntlet, Slip Sand Galaxy, Bowser Jr.'s Boom Bunker Prankster Comet, and Bowser's Galaxy Generator. No doubt one of Bowser's best troops in his kingdom. Mario can easily take out Drybones into a pile of bones, but after a few seconds they magically put themselves back together, ready to chase Mario once more. He even cackles like a boo if he hits you. It's no wonder why Bowser has Drybones guarding all of his important fortresses and castles. They're completely unstoppable. Now before, you just need to lure Drybones towards quicksand to defeat them. This time, however, they're much more smarter and won't be falling into any lava. One way you could take out Drybones is in Bowser Jr.'s Fiery Flotilla, where you can lure two of them off an edge or towards this Thwomp. Drybones is one of my favorite characters, which is why I use him all the time in Mario Kart. Alright then, so that pretty much wraps up all the enemies in Super Mario Galaxy 2. I apologize if this video is too long, but I wanted to make the review complete, and it's probably one of my longest videos yet. I really didn't need to talk about the Galaxy 1 enemies because, you know, I already talked about them in the past, but like I said before, some of them function a little bit differently, and it completes the list of enemies for this game. The new enemies in this game are definitely the most unique Mario enemies, and a lot of them get utilized pretty well in each of the galaxies they appear in. It should be noted that a quarter of the enemies in this game are new, while the rest are from Galaxy 1. So it would be short had I talked about just the new ones, but you know what? If I decide to redo my Mario Galaxy 1 enemy review in the future, I would combine both games. As of recording this, Nintendo just announced that Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 are coming to the Switch 2, which is really great, especially since Galaxy 2 wasn't in 3D All-Stars on the Switch. For now, I think I'll take a short break from Mario games. as I have more things I'd like to get into. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's review. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next review.